Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to talk about Trump announces deal with Indonesia and Europe releases list of counter tariffs. Now, before I get into this video, I would like to say, look at my new glasses. All right, I finally got some prescription glasses, so now I don't really need my contacts at nighttime. I can wake up out of my sleep and I can see. So that's a blessing. I just got them today. They're so crystal clear. I can see my eyelids in the frames. But anyways, man, thank you and shout out to everybody that's been watching, that's been viewing. We have been growing. I ain't even gonna lie. It's been taking, step by step every day. There's a way to grow, and I'm just doing it the right way, as far as just taking my time, not doing what everybody else is doing, and I'm not repeating the same information over and over. But I want to say thank y'all for watching, thank y'all for tuning in. If I have never said that, I usually just start and get right into it, but I want to say thank you. You know what I mean? Shout out to the sponsor, Quality Surveillance Systems. You can go to www.qualitysurveillancesystems to learn more information. If you guys have any questions, please let me know, because I'm here to express what AI has to offer in surveillance. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this video. We got a long one, guys, so be prepared. I'm just giving y'all the update. This was a big announcement over the past weekend. If you have missed my video, please go check out that video when Trump announced the new tariffs. And now I want to hear what Europe has to say about the counter tariffs. All right, so I'm on Yahoo Finance. Please do me a favor and do your own homework. Before I even start my videos, I look for good articles to read. And now I just want to give a huge shout out to Yahoo Finance. Create you a Charles Schwab account. Also, don't forget about TradingView. There's other sources, but Yahoo Finance is probably my best one, because you can look at your own portfolio, news, markets, research, personal finance, videos, watch now, stuff like that. But without further ado, all right, President Trump announced his team struck a deal with Indonesia on Tuesday that will see goods from the country face a 19% tariff. The announcement comes after Trump unveiled a new batch of letters to 20 trade partners outlining tariffs on goods imported from their countries beginning in August. The letters set new baseline tariff levels at 20% to 40%, except for a 50% levy on goods from Brazil, and a move that waded into the country's domestic politics. Indonesian goods face a 32% tariff rate on August 1st, according to the July 7th letter Trump sent to Indonesia President Prabowo Subianto. Trump on Tuesday said U.S. goods will face no import tax in Indonesia. Trump also escalated tariff tensions with Canada, Mexico, and the European Union recently. Last week, Trump announced a 35% tariff on Canadian goods and followed that up with the promises of 30% duties on Mexico and Europe. The Europe or EU has been preparing options for a trade deal, while also preparing a extensive list of counter tariffs that would affect 72 billion euros, 84 billion USD of American products should talks fail. There will be a huge impact on trade. The European chief negotiator said Monday it will be almost impossible to continue trading as we are used to a transatlantic relationship. All right. So, Europe is going to go from 20% to 30%. What do y'all think, man? I don't know. I think that is Trump making the best decisions? Is this the right thing to do? Me, my honest opinion, I don't really understand the tariffs. We need other countries for their hard work and their labor. We was already pretty much making a great relationship with everybody. As you can see, Canada has disappeared from their rate. Mexico has disappeared due to, Canada and Mexico are the two most important. I ain't gonna say most important, but when it comes to Canada, we get a lot from Canada. From I've even seen oil. I even seen, basically almost everything in Canada is important, and in Mexico is the tomatoes. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. Some did take a hit, some didn't. But let's get back into the article. All right. As markets focus on U.S. talks, here is where things stand with other key partners. Vietnam. Trump said a deal with Vietnam will see the country's imports face a 20% tariff, lower than 46% Trump had threatened in April. He also said Vietnamese goods will face a higher 40% tariff on any transshipping. When goods shipped from Vietnam originate from another country like China. According to reports, Vietnam's leadership was caught off guard by Trump's announcement last week that agreed to a 20% tariff and is now seeking to lower the rate. India. Trump tariffs on Brazil have raised the stakes for India, another member of the BRICS coalition. Bloomberg reported that the countries are working towards a framework deal that could see U.S. tariffs on goods from India drop below 20%. Trump threatened secondary tariffs on Russia up to 100% as he attempts to pressure the country into negotiating an end to war in Ukraine. I don't think that Trump can really change that. In my honest, humble opinion, I don't think he can change that. All right. Indonesia goods will see a 19% tariff on a new deal. President Trump on Tuesday unveiled more details of emerging trade agreement with Indonesia, saying the country's goods would face a 19% tariff when imported to the U.S. U.S. goods will see no tariff when exported to Indonesia, Trump said. They are paying 19%, and we are not paying anything, Trump told reporters Tuesday at the White House. We are going to have full access to Indonesia. Indonesia is preparing a joint statement with the U.S. that will detail additional information, including non-tariff measures and commercial agreements. According to Ministry for Economic Affairs Secretary Suzy Wiono Mojarso said in a text late Tuesday in Jakarta. Indonesia top negotiator Minister Erlangga Hartarto last week met with U.S. officials, including Trade Representative Jamieson Greer, Commerce Secretary Howard Lieutenant, and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent to hash out improved deal. Southeast Asia largest economy had earlier proposed near zero tariffs on about 70% of U.S. imports, as well as business deals in critical minerals, energy, agriculture, and defense. But that failed to convince Trump to lower the levy in Indonesian goods from 32% rate he first set back in April. Trump tariff inflation is arriving. Tariff fans have been boasting that President Trump's import taxes are raising federal revenue without contributing to inflation. They were premature. Inflation data for June shows notable monthly price increase in several categories dominated by imports such as appliances, sporting goods, and toys. The price hikes aren't draconian. I've never heard of that. Okay, anyways. But they're what economists have been expecting to see as importers paying the higher taxes begin to pass them onto their own customers. The increase in household appliance, apparel, toys highlight that tariffs are being passed onto the consumer. Oxford Economics explained in a July 15th analyst. We expect tariff revenues to continue to trend higher over the next few months. Tariff impacts on the economy are still in the pipeline. Hunting for tariff inflation, month-to-month price changes for all goods and sectors dominated by imports. You can look at the graph on Yahoo Finance yourself. Me, I really don't know exactly how to read the graph. So we're just gonna continue to go. All right. Indonesia trades deficient with the U.S. grew to 17.9 billion last year. Here's a look at U.S. trade relationship with Indonesia as we await further details about a deal. Trump says U.S. reaches trade deal with Indonesia. U.S. monthly imports and exports of goods in trade balance with Indonesia since 2020. So exports is green, imports is red, balance is blue. All right. Things look like they took effect in 2021. But I don't really know how to explain, but we can continue to read. It's not my job to tell y'all how to read maps and all this good stuff. I can just, give you my honest opinion, but I know I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, in 2024, the U.S. trade deficit with Indonesia increased by 5.4%, 923 million to 17.9 billion. The total goods traded between the countries reached 38.3 billion that year, with the U.S. exporting 10.2 billion in goods and importing 28.1 billion worth of products. According to OEC, Indonesia's largest export products to the U.S. include palm oil, electrical machinery, and broadcasting equipment, and rubber products as of 2023. The U.S. exports petroleum products, soybeans, and aircraft to Indonesia. President Trump announced that two countries had reached a deal, though he withheld details on Tuesday, not long after leaders of Indonesia and European Union met in Brussels over the weekend and struck their own agreement. The U.S. has said it will impose 30% tariffs on the EU starting August 1st. Trump's Russia tariff threat risks relations with China and India. President Trump's latest threat to impose secondary tariffs of up to 100% on Russia comes to a delicate time for trade talks with China and India, which are crucial to the Trump administration's economic and strategic goals. On Monday, Trump threatened to place a 100% tariff rate on Russia if it didn't make significant progress toward a peace deal with Ukraine. In the next 50 days, he said the duties would be secondary, meaning they will be penalized. Any nation that traded with Russia, such tariffs would notably target China in particular as its major buyer of Russian oil. Bloomberg reports Matt Whitaker, the U.S. ambassador to NATO, later said the planned action effectively represents secondary sanctions on countries buying oil from Russia. It's about tariffs on countries like India and China that are buying their oil, he told reporters. The global markets increasingly skeptical of Trump near daily tariff threats largely shrugged off news suggesting that there's little concern around any potential impact to crude flows. Trade analysts said that the proposed levies will be difficult to police and, if implemented, could and will backfire on the U.S. It remains unclear how exactly you would do this, and China or anyone would certify they are meeting the U.S. requirement, said Deborah Elms, head of trade policy at the Henrik Foundation in Singapore. It is going to add more fuel to the fire while those countries are skeptical of receiving a deal with Trump. All right. So we already talked about Trump has or says that the U.S. reached a trade deal with Indonesia. President Trump posted on Truth Social, "Great deal for everybody just made with Indonesia. I dealt directly with their highly respected president. Details to follow." Indonesia was facing 32% tariffs on exports to the U.S. from August 1st. It was one of over 20 countries whose leaders Trump has sent letters in the past week, plus dictating the tariff rates their countries will face next month. Inflation accelerates in June as investors eye tariff-related price increases. The latest consumer inflation report showed inflation accelerating in June, a sign that tariffs are being to the effect consumer price increases. The latest data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics showed that the consumer price index, the CPI, increased 2.7% on an annual basis in June, an uptick from May's 2.4% gain driven by a reversal in falling gas prices. Economists had expected headline inflation to come in at 2.6%. On a monthly basis, prices rose 0.3% compared to May's 0.1% uptick, matching economists' estimates. Core inflation, which excludes volatile food and energy costs, came in a little better than expected with 0.2% monthly increase compared to 0.3% rise expected. Core CPI rose to 2.9% over the past year in June and lines with estimates. This is just the initial onset of the tariffs increase, and we're going to see more over the summer. EY chief economist Gregory Dacko told Yahoo Finance in response to the inflation print, "I expect a very muggy summer when it comes to inflation." That's the chart for the consumer inflation accelerates, hitting a 4-year low. All right. So we talked about Indonesia reaching a deal with the U.S. Talked about inflation. I wonder. I didn't see the EU releases list of counter tariffs. That's what I was looking for. Now, if we already read it, then I don't know. I don't see it. I don't think we talked about the European counter list. I could be wrong. I was looking for it the whole entire time. So as I look, what do you guys think about the Indonesia deal? Let me know in the comment section. Okay, here we go. I found it. It was yesterday. So it was reported yesterday. This probably be the last thing that I read, but I want to hear what they're saying. You know what I mean? All right, so European Union finalizes list of counter tariffs totaling $72 billion. The European Union has prepared a list of American goods that will be tariffed by a bloc by the bloc should be a mutually beneficial trade deal be reached by August 1st, deadline set by Trump last week, with just shy of 20% of the U.S. trade being done with the European or EU, Europe. There's a swath of industries that will be impacted by the tariffs should they come into effect. The full list of impacted products totals 72 billion, 84 billion USD, Bloomberg reports. The additional duties will also be slapped on missionary products, chemicals and plastics, medical devices, electrical equipment, wines, and other agricultural goods, according to the 206-page list prepared by the European Commission and seen by Bloomberg News. The list initially hitting American goods totaling 95 billion was cut down after consultations with companies and member states. Countries must give their approval before the list adoption. The suite of measures represents EU's response to Donald Trump's earlier so-called reciprocal tariff of 20% hitting most goods and the additional levies on cars and car parts of 25%. The universal rate was later temporarily lowered to 10% to allow negotiations to take place. European Commission representatives did not immediately respond to a request for a comment early Tuesday morning. It says read more here. So basically, they just going back and forth. I mean, they said electrical, wines, machinery. Basically, it's very important stuff. I would say, you know what I'm saying? This stuff is very serious, in my opinion. But, you know, it says the EU's new list of targeted U.S. products includes more than 65 billion of industrial goods, including mostly aircraft, nearly 11 billion machinery, 9.4 billion, and cars, 8 billion. More than 6 billion of U.S. goods hit are agri-food products, mostly fruits and vegetables, nearly 2 billion, and alcoholic drinks. The broad package also includes precision equipment and instruments, toys, hobby equipment, sports guns, musical instruments. Some criteria to choose the goods were availability of alternate sources of supply and products where the risk of relocation is high. According to the document, imported military products will not be subject to duties. Yeah, man. So they're coming back at Trump, and it says we're always open to talk. The U.S. president told reporters at the White House, "We are open to talk, including Europe. In fact, they're coming over. They like to talk." So yeah, it says they have finalized a second list of countermeasures to target U.S. goods worth $72 billion, including Boeing aircraft, automobiles, Boban, if it decides to retaliate against Trump tariff policy. So I think that, you know, they're making I don't know. I can say that Trump is trying to make this difficult, or I could say that, you know, Europe is not. They standing on business. They're standing on business. You know what I'm saying? So let me know y'all thoughts. I know some of you aren't really into news and stuff like that. So I'm building a whole new audience. Feel free, unsubscribe if this is not what you are looking for in me towards giving you great content. I understand it is okay. I don't get offended. It is what it is. I changed my whole entire style. I changed my whole entire mindset about how I move on YouTube, and I'm going to only talk about important things from here on out. And I'm glad that I made the change because it's led me to a bigger audience. And if you know what I know, then financial literacy people, they get paid significantly better than others, than gaming and streaming. I could be wrong about streaming. Now, streaming, you can get paid, all right? But finance people, they get paid significantly, all right? All that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think about the European counter list. Let me know what y'all think about Trump's decision on all of this. Let me know what y'all think about my channel. Let me know what I need to work on. And honestly, I love these glasses. I love the way that, brings a different style to me. And, we're going to continue to keep working hard. All right. I'll see you guys Wednesday with more updates with this tariffs, because y'all know it's going to keep dropping. We're going to keep getting news. We're going to continue to get more news, and I can't wait to see you guys, man. I do my homework outside of just making videos. I read every single day the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ. I read everything and take it for what I see it. All my day traders was good. Continue to grind. Be smart with your money. Risk what you can risk. And everybody that is a struggled day trader, take your time. You don't have to rush anything. My best suggestion to you is try to get $1 to $10. If you can change that and you have success and you know what you're doing, you can make money within 5 minutes. I done seen people do it. Have I done it? No. But it can be done, all right? All that being said, hopefully y'all like these longer videos. And I'm going to see you guys in the next video. It's your boy Super Rich JL. We're checking out with another one. We out. Yeah.